Good day, everyone, especially to you, Dr. Ria Kibir. Again, I'm Hanna Perocho from BSHL3A, and in this video, I'm gonna discuss about the chapter 2 that talks about the Philippine Constitution. So for the learning objectives, we have to identify important provisions in the Philippine Constitution related to tourism and travel, enumerate the rights of travelers as well as entities engaged in the entire tourism, travel, and hospitality industry. And the last one is to organize industry research. So for the laws, laws in general help maintain peace, order, and justice in society. They guide how people, businesses, and the government should act. Without laws, there would be a chaos and unfairness because laws are like rules that everyone needs to follow to make sure that things are fair and organized. While the Constitution is the highest and most important law of the land, it is a written document that sets the foundation of the government and defines its powers, limits, and structure. All other laws must follow what the Constitution says, because the Constitution is like a big rule book for how the government works. Constitution also serves several key purposes. The first one is it creates the government. It establishes the different branches and their functions. Also limits government power, like it prevents any branch from becoming too powerful. Also, it protects citizens' rights because it also ensures freedom, justice, and fairness for all. And lastly, acts as a legal guide. All laws and government action must follow the Constitution. So by understanding the Constitution and the law, people can better protect their rights and fulfill their responsibilities as citizens. A strong legal system ensures a fair and democratic society where everyone is treated equally. Our topic is all about the constitutional provisions related to tourism, which may be given preferential attention. The first one is the Article 3, the Bill of Rights, and also the Article 12, the National Economy and Patrimony. So let's go for the Article 3, the Bill of Rights, Section 1. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law, nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the laws. So for the discussion of the law, it is right to life, right to liberty, right to property, equal protection of the law, due process of law, and also essential requirements of due process in courts. Because the Bill of Rights protects every person's life, liberty, property, and fairness under the law. It ensures that laws and government actions respects people's rights and provide equal treatment for all. Because the Bill of Rights protects people's most important rights, making sure everyone gets treated fairly and with respect. So for the application of the law, you can see in the screen about the case summary and also the legal opinion about the Congressman Peter Ginyono. So let's go for the section 3. So this section 3 is the privacy of communication and correspondence shall be inviolable except upon lawful order of the court or when public safety or order requires otherwise as prescribed by law. Any evidence obtained in violation of this or the preceding section shall be inadmissible for any purposes in any proceeding. So these laws make sure people's private communications like phone calls and letters are protected. If someone illegally listens in on them, the evidence can't be used in court. So for the discussion of the law, this law protects all forms of communication, including letters, telegrams, phone calls, and also messages. Republic Act Number 4200, also known as the Anti-Wiretapping Law, sets penalties for violating these rights. It allows wiretapping only for certain serious crimes, such as treason, espionage, rebellion, and kidnapping, but only with court authorization. So this law protects our private talks and says that wiretapping can only happen in serious cases and only if the court agrees to it. So for the application of the law, you can see at the screen about the case summary of the National Bureau of Investigation, and also it has also a legal opinion of the case. So for the next section is the section 4. No law shall be passed abridging a freedom of speech, of expression, or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble the petition of the government for redress for grievances. So this means people have the right to speak, freely express their ideas, write what they believe in, and peacefully protest against the government if they think something is wrong. For the discussion of the law, it is the speech, expression, and press include all forms of communication, including oral speech, recordings. So this includes any way people communicate, whether by talking, writing, or even in movies and songs. For the application of the law, you can also see at the screen about the case summary at Fort Santiago. And also, it has also a legal opinion about the case. So for the next section is the section 6. Section 6 is the liberty of abode and of changing the same within the limits prescribed by law shall not be impaired except upon lawful order of the court. Neither shall the right to travel be impaired except in the interest of national security, public safety, or public health, as may be provided by law. This law gives people the right to live where they want and travel wherever they want, and also, but the government can restrict these rights if it's for safety, health, or security reasons. So for the discussion of laws of this section is that this constitutional provision guarantees two main freedoms: the freedom to choose and change one's place of residence, the freedom to travel within or outside the country. However, these rights are not absolute. They can be limited by a lawful court order. Like for example, when people is released on bail, a whole departure order can be issued to ensure the person returns to legal proceedings. Just like on the application of the law, we also have on the screen, right on the screen, about the case summary of Mr. Bondo. And also it has the legal opinion of the case. You can read it and in our screen. So for the next section is the section 8, the right of the people, including those employed in the public and private sectors, to form unions and associations or societies for purposes not contrary to law shall not be abridged. So for the discussion of the law of this section, it talks about the rights to form unions, where workers both in government and private sectors have the constitutional right to form unions to protect their rights and interests. This means that workers can create groups to defend their rights at work. And also, limitation for government employees. Government workers do not have the constitutional right to strike unlike private sector's employees. Civil service rules prohibit strikes in government employment. So this talks about the government workers are not allowed to go on strike, unlike those working in private companies. So for the application of the law, we also have on the screen a case summary about the Juni Bustillos, and also it has the legal opinion of the case. So for the next section is the section 10, no law impairing the obligations of contracts shall be passed. So for the discussion of the law of this section, the first one is it discusses the contract as the law of the parties. A contract is a legal agreement between parties and its terms govern them unless they violate the law or public policy. The courts ensure that parties follow the contract. A contract, because we know that a contract is a legal promise between two parties, and the court make sure both sides follow it. The next one is the impairment of the contractual terms. Any law that changes the terms of a contract, like timing, mode of performance, or condition, is considered an impairment and is void. Laws that change the conditions of a contract are not allowed. Also, we have it discussed the police power of the state. Not all changes to contracts violate the Constitution. The state has the power to intervene in contracts for the general welfare of the people, such as for health, safety, education, or morals. Because the government can change contracts if it is for the public safety, health, or education. For the next topic is all about the national economy and patrimony. So we have the section 10. The Congress shall, upon recommendation of the Economic and Planning Agency, when the national interest dictates, reserve to citizens of the Philippines or to corporations or associations at least 60% of whose capital is owned by such citizens or such higher percentage as Congress may prescribe certain areas of investment. In the grant of rights, privileges, and concessions covering national economy and patrimony, the state shall give preference to qualified Filipinos. The state shall regulate the exercise authority over foreign investments within its national jurisdiction and in accordance with its national goals and priorities. So for the discussion of law, Nationalization of businesses, that these laws allows Filipinization of certain businesses, which is not a new concept. The case of Ichong or versus Hernandez affirmed that Filipinization can be done without violating the equal protection. And also patrimony of the nation. The nation's patrimony includes both natural resources and cultural heritage such as arts, sciences, and literature. So for the qualified Filipinos, preference is given to those who contribute to the common good, competence, and efficiency. The law does not support preferential treatment for the incompetent individuals or organizations. For the application of the law, you can see on the screen about the case summary about a Malaysian corporation. And also, it has the legal opinion of the case. So let's go for the section 11. No franchise, certificate, or any other form of authorization for the operation of a public utility shall be granted except to the citizens of the Philippines or to corporation or association organized under the laws of the Philippines, or at least 60% of whose capital is owned by such citizens, nor shall such franchise, certificate, or authorization be exclusive in character or for a longer period than 50 years. Neither shall any such franchise or right be granted except under the condition that it shall be subjected to amendment, alteration, or repeal by the Congress when the common good so requires. The state shall encourage equity participation in public utilities by the general public. The participation of foreign investors in the governing body of any public utility enterprise shall be limited to their proportionate share in its capital, and all the executive and managing officers of such corporation or association must be citizens of the Philippines. So for the discussion of the law, the key points of this law is that public utility franchises are only granted to Filipinos or corporations with at least 60% Filipino ownership, because only Filipinos or Filipino-owned companies can run public utility services. Also, the law allows the legislature to amend or repeal public utility franchises when necessary for the common good. And lastly, public utility includes services such as transportation, communication, water services, and other services that are available to the public for hire and or compensation. For the section 14, it is the last section of the national economy and patrimony, the section 14. Section 14, the sustained development of a reservoir of national talents consisting of Filipino scientists, entrepreneurs, professionals, managers, high-level technical manpower, and skilled workers and craftsmen in all fields shall be promoted by the state. The state shall encourage appropriate technology and regulate its transfer for the national benefit. The practice of all professions in the Philippines shall be limited to Filipino citizens, save in cases prescribed by law. So for the discussion of this law, this provision mandates that the practice of most professions in the Philippines is limited to Filipino citizens, and foreign nationals are prohibited from engaging in these fields unless explicitly allowed by law, because most jobs in the Philippines are reserved for Filipinos unless the law says otherwise. For the application of this law, we have also the case example about Mr. Jantan, and also we have the legal counsel of the case, and also for about the chief executive officer. You can see it on our screen. And lastly, for our conclusion, together, these provisions guide the sustainable development of the Philippine tourism industry by promoting both the welfare of Filipinos and the global competitiveness of the industry. The tourism sector must navigate these constitutional frameworks to ensure that while it opens up to the international investment and partnerships, it still upholds the principles of national sovereignty and Filipino welfare. Given the global nature of tourism and the increasing international cooperation in this field, these laws are essential for shaping a tourism sector that benefits both the Philippines and its international partners. And that's it for the Chapter 2 that tackles about the Philippine Constitution. And again, I'm Hanna Perocho from BEST HM3A. Thank you for listening and goodbye.